Hey, welcome back. It's Respect the Jeff here with episode 59 of this whole city career. And well, we ended on a pretty high note here and we had some very, very good moments in this career. So before we move on and begin our next journey, let's take a look back at the last 3 seasons. Our story begins as a Japanese billionaire takes over the club and puts us in charge with ambitions of taking this team to the next level. We step into the job with a real lower mid-table squad and make some tough decisions to cut big-name players. Among these is Captain Eric Lehigh, who leaves the club in dramatic fashion, and it also sees fan favorite Jared Bowen step up and take over as the leader of this team. We signed Kubo at the end of the summer window, who would go on to be one of the best players of this career, and really one of the best players in the championship for the 2 seasons he was part of it. Unfortunately, it's a terrible start to the season, but results do pick up after a while. The season's a constant battle between our strong offensive line with Kubo slamming in goals up top, and our leaky back line that means an equalizer is always within reach for the opponent. And the team's really just a work in progress most of the season. Star midfielder Henriksen takes off in the January window and leaves the team in really rough shape heading into the back end of the season. It's during this time though that we also kick off what would become a rivalry between us and Arsenal with the game of our season, as youngster Leonardo Lopez leads our team to a 3-0 victory against the English Giants. And we actually go on to make a real push in the FA Cup, but Manchester City made sure that we fell out in the quarterfinals after a very definitive performance by them. And the season ends with us in 8th place, all things said and done, which is somewhat of a miracle considering how bad we started the year. So a bit disappointing to not really make a push for promotion in Season 1, but Season 2 was a much better showing as the team finally started to gel, and we turned ourselves into genuine contenders for a promotion spot this time around. We made some ruthless decisions in the transfer market, selling several of our defensive players for a complete overhaul of our back line. We also pulled in center mid Higuita from the MLS, who would go on to immediately change the look of this squad. Our captain, Jared Bowen, also found a home in the center of the pitch. He started playing in that hole behind Kubo and formed one of the deadliest scoring partnerships in the league. We hovered around a promotion spot for most of the season as time dragged on, and we also kicked off another fantastic FA Cup run. We took down Premier League sides Southampton, Chelsea, and Wolves to stumble our way all the way to the final. And in an unbelievable turn of events, we're drawn against Arsenal in this game. It seems like fate has given us another chance because they were the team who won over the Tigers in the 2014 FA Cup final. Now it's a really close game that goes scoreless through 90 minutes and extra time, with us hanging on for the majority of that time under a lot of pressure from their attack. But we do manage to keep our nerves and actually end up winning the game on penalties to secure the team's first piece of silverware. It's a huge moment for the history of the club and the standout moment in our journey here. But things get even better as we manage to take down Cardiff as well in the promotion playoffs and make our way to the Premier League for Season 3. Now our third campaign kicks off with an exciting FA Cup Community Shield match against Tottenham that we managed to take all the way to penalties once again, but this time we're on the losing end as they managed to edge us out after an extended penalty shootout that went many, many rounds. So we waste no more time in this summer window and make sure the squad is ready for the season. We sign a new goalkeeper Fabricio, wingers Ito and Aarons, and Ivan Toney as a backup striker for Kubo up top. However, it's a rough start to life in the league as we hang around the relegation zone for most of the opening few months. But thanks to our triumph in the FA Cup, we actually get to participate in European football this time around through the form of the Europa League. We win our opening matches and actually go on to top our group and make it all the way through to the knockout rounds. Ito becomes a star in this competition thanks to his amazing performances. He's got a real swagger about him and he makes it look so easy. Not the player I thought was going to have a breakout season, but he definitely did. The team struggles with consistency as Kubo spends several months out with a nasty injury, so it's new signing Ivan Toney called to take the line, but he isn't able to replicate the same firepower up top and our results stutter because of this. We go on to take on Torino in the round of 32 in the Europa League, and again find our fortunes come down to a penalty shootout that sees us through to the next stage of the competition. We're starting to get a pretty good track record with these overall. We draw Ajax in the round of 16, and it's actually a promising start as we hold them to a close 1-0 loss in the first leg, but we're given a really harsh reality check as they go on to smash our team 6-1 on aggregate. So with all eyes on the league, we target a top half finish, and during this final stretch of the season, Jared Bowen goes to break into Hull City's all-time top goal scorers list, finishing number 6 at the end of the season with 85 career goals for this team, taking over from Sammy Stevens. And at only 25 years of age, there is still plenty of time for him to improve on those numbers. It's a shame that we won't get to manage that. But we end up finishing the season in 11th place, narrowly missing out on a top half spot. But we've got a young team with a bright future, and things are looking really good for the club. So we leave this team in safe hands as we continue on to a brand new career. But I think we can look back and be really proud of how far this squad made it since Season 1. Alright, so it's time for the Season 3 End of the Year awards. The first up, Player of the Year, goes to Jared Bowen. Was it ever in doubt? He's our highest rated player. He scored the most goals, most appearances as well. Just the overall best in the team, and he was absolute class all season long. Our next award, the Young Player of the Year, goes to Cameron Allen. This was a really tough decision for me to make. It was between him and Alexander, but in the end, Allen made so many appearances. He wasn't as good as last season, but he's still just a notch above the rest of our under-21s. Such a bright talent for the future. For the Golden Boot, we're headed back to the captain, Jared Bowen, with 24 goals to his name. What an outstanding record, considering most of this was in the Premier League as well. 14 goals in the league to his name. Just a great season overall from him. Next up, most appearances, you guessed it, Jared Bowen again. 54 across all competitions. I just can't tell you guys how lucky we were to have a player of his quality in the team for the duration of this career. I really think we would have finished so much farther down the table if it wasn't for him. And this next award, a bit of a shock, the Playmaker award going to Ivan Toney, our backup striker who filled in well for Kubo during his absence. He got 8 assists to his name, just edged out Bowen, who almost completed the trio of awards there, but well done to Ivan Toney. The most improved player of the season goes to Ethan Alexander. Now this could have gone a couple ways. There were several players who had +4 overall, but I think Alexander just needs to be taken into context here because he really stepped up in European competitions despite his rating. So I think among all of those who grew by +4, he showed the most improvement. Alright, so the final award for Season 3 Goal of the Season goes to Bowen as well for his outstanding solo effort against West Ham. And he just took it past way too many defenders. A little clunky at times, but the sheer number of players that he beat to put this one in the back of the net and the precision on that goal is simply outrageous. And that's just what we've come to expect from him at this point. Constantly scoring goals like that, doesn't even need the help of his teammates oftentimes. And it's that kind of play that really just kept us in a lot of these matches. Alright, well there you have the awards for Season 3, but now on to more important matters. It's the awards for this entire career. So up first, it's Player of the Career, and you guys probably guessed it, it is the captain, Jared Bowen. He was our highest rated player through the entire career. Tons of appearances, tons of goals. He was the captain. I don't know what more you can say. This guy was outstanding. He single-handedly won us so many games and scored some great goals in the process. Next up is the most appearances. Like I mentioned, it's going to Jared Bowen as well. He had 169 across 3 seasons. He was never injured. He played from the beginning to the end, practically every single match. Just such an outstanding talent and a real leader in the team as well. The next award for most goals actually goes to Yuya Kubo. He wasn't quite as prolific in this past season, but we know what he did in the championship. 59 over 3 seasons, simply outstanding from the Japanese international. 79 overall at the end of this career, and what a player he was to have in this team. And the final career award for most assists is actually a tie between Jared Bowen and Yuya Kubo, both on 26. And we know how much these two linked up, even between each other. I'm sure a lot of these assists were back and forth between the two of them. What a deadly pairing up top. And they were just so fun to play with. Alright guys, well unfortunately that brings us to the end of this episode and the end of the career. thank you so much for all the support here, and if you've been enjoying this content, please subscribe to the channel, and I will be back very soon with a brand new career. You guys can follow me along that journey. It'll be a lot of fun. And like I said earlier, I think we'll do a little bit longer of a career this time, so we will be able to see some of our players grow over a longer period of time. I'm excited to start trying some of these things out on PC for once. I'll be putting up one last video soon just to let you guys know my decision with the next team here. I have made the call to stay in England again. I want to work our way up through all 4 divisions this time around. So let me know in the comments who you'd like to see. I haven't totally made my decision yet. I've narrowed it down to a couple, and I would like to hear you guys' feedback. So I will return soon with that announcement, but until then, I'm Respect the Jeff, and I'll see you next time.